So
What's up? What up, guys? Your boy Bobo's here. We got some craziness going on today. We got some weird, wacky WB stuff to talk about with the DC, James Gunn, some tweets that were made yesterday. We're not just going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a couple more things. We were having a couple of tech issues there for a second. Anshul's going to jump in any minute here. Trust me, you'll just see him all of a sudden. He's just going to be like, hey, what up, what up? So, but seriously, we definitely have a lot going on. I really don't even know where to begin with this as far as the direction of what DC's doing. If you guys seen any of the news, I mean, yesterday it was kind of thing. It was all over the place. We couldn't do a podcast yesterday because I was working. I was actually doing some other stuff, but it's looking like there's going to be massive changes, like severe changes. But we also had some sort of retracted / backup tweets, some let's say some caveat tweets, which I think I can already pinpoint exactly what these are going to be. So, and we got our boy Anshul joining us now.
Yo, what's up? Yo, this is Emergency Pod. We got DC Madness in the house.
Dude, it's whack, man. Just because solely, not just a couple 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had this huge post about Henry coming back as Superman.
Yeah.
Now,
it seems like just yesterday, right?
It does. It seems just like yesterday. You know, honestly, it seems like yesterday that James Gunn Suicide Squad movie was made, but that was over a year ago now.
Yeah, exactly. And who would have thought that here would be a year later and James Gunn would be going in there and cleaning house like he Rocket Raccoon with a machine gun.
Dude, and he is straight up just being like, guys, this is what I want. And I found this picture here because there's some kind of cool images behind here. He's already been noted saying that he wants to bring Green Lantern to the forefront. There's already the talk of a Hawkman forward with the character we got from Black Adam, like doing more movies with him, a solo movie. Hush, which I don't know what that means, but if they even try to touch Hush, that's some serious stuff right there. You got to do that good.
Well, hey, there's some sacred DC cows that have already been potentially chopped on the chopping block. You know, we can get to all that because there's a lot of stuff to talk about. There's a lot of news hit today. I sent Bobo an email. It was supposed to be 1 or 2 talking points for his emergency pod, and as I'm going through my Twitter, I kept finding story after story that we need to talk about. So
with 1 or 2 talking points, I just counted turned into 11.
Yeah, exactly. So let's start off with the main course, right? What are we all really caring about? And that is that James Gunn is canceling Superman and Wonder Woman.
Okay, so look, is he really doing that? Because he did say his new tweet said today was like something I'm sure you've seen or heard the news, whatever. Mm-hmm. Some of it's true, some of it's not true, and some of it's partially true.
Yeah, that's interesting, but of course, it's very vague. So what does that even mean? Like, well, you know, what's true, what's not true? Because there's several stories posting these rumors now. It's not just 1 or 2 Twitter sources. Deadlines picked up on this. A bunch of news outlets.
Variety, it's actually hitting reliable. So Hollywood Reporter was the first one to do it, and they're reliable.
Yeah, exactly.
Real quick, let me just break real quick because I don't want to leave this out. Peter just wanted to give you love on that. He loves your shirt.
Oh, well, thank you, Peter. I'm happy you liked it. Yeah, I gotta represent the villains. I'm the villain of this podcast for sure. So, you know.
Yeah.
Real villains represent villains.
Yeah.
Real villains. That's a shirt idea, Bobo.
That is a shirt idea, real villains. But we also got real killers coming too. So look.
We got a lot of comments, man. You guys are really hyped for this.
Yeah, Derpy said you were waiting. I'm excited about what you got to say, Derp. But all right, can I say what I think real quick as far as that tweet with him saying some's true, some's not true, some's partially true?
Yeah, and listen, James Gunn's known to get in trouble with his Twitter, right? So, what are your thoughts?
What I think by that specific statement is canceling Superman is not true. Canceling Wonder Woman is partially true because
we'll get into that.
They're having problems on.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We got some news stories on that.
I just covered the true or the not true and the partially true. And what I do think is true is either this going away, maybe, or this possibly having some sort of a change. So I know that's part of the other story. I just wanted to say that's where I think that the truth, the not truth, and the partial truth is.
It sounds like a lot of hoping there, Bobo. I know you love you some Henry Cavill Superman, but you can't be too sure. He's said nothing in stone. Said nothing in stone.
The only way that he would change things up like that and keep certain things, because remember, he's already implemented Peacemaker that's in this world with these characters, and he wants to move Peacemaker forward. So, and so his Suicide Squad still took place in this world. I think that maybe Flashpoint could switch some things around, but I also just don't think that Cavill, he's going to lose. I think he might be aware of what Cavill has to offer, but I wouldn't be so sure if like Aquaman gets switched up or something. And I definitely think Wonder Woman is going to be a huge switch.
Oh yeah, and dude, that's some juicy rumors going around. That there's all sorts of rumors flying about Wonder Woman. We're going to have a lot to say about that one. With the Henry Cavill Superman, like, listen, physically, he's a nice Superman. I also like the actor, but I didn't love the Superman movies. And so I'm indifferent. If you go another way with this Superman, I wouldn't care. If Henry Cavill gets to stay, I wouldn't care, as long as you give me much better material than you gave with him before, prior to this, right? With that being said, James Gunn might have his own vision for Superman. He may turn Superman into a trauma character. I mean, listen, they've missed the mark on Superman since Richard Donner, honestly. Yeah.
I mean, look, there's been, I think Man of Steel is great. You and I think, disagree on that one because of the Zod fight.
What do you think is great about it? I know what you're going to say, so let's just get this out of the way.
No. I thought Kevin Costner's portrayal as the dad, I thought the moments between him and the father-son stuff was really good. Like when he's just like, I'm tired of pretending to be your son, and he's like, you are my son.
Bobo,
like, you will tear it up, man.
You will pick apart a movie, and the fact that he lets his dad, like, you'll have the biggest problems with the movie just based on things that take you out of the movie that shouldn't take you out of the movie. His dad dies in a tornado while he's standing there just looking at him, and he's super freaking mad.
I mean, you're right, but it's because his dad's just like, let it go.
Yeah, then he's like, no, I can run so fast these people won't even see me. What are you talking about?
Well, okay. There might, if that's how you're picking it apart too, then I could present the argument you're throwing at me the same back at you. It's just like, if that's the one thing that you don't like about it, for me,
no,
the story was artistic. I really enjoyed it, man.
I told you I was out as soon as I see Russell Crowe, who's genetically created to be a scientist, beating the shit out of Zod, who's genetically created to be the perfect soldier. I knew this movie jumped the shark, and that's in the first 5 minutes of the movie, Bobo.
That just didn't bother me, man. That didn't get to me like it gets to, like some people that are nurses when they watch or people that are surgeons and they watch surgeon scenes in movies, they're like, that's not how it would. That stuff just doesn't bother me sometimes.
Yeah, you know why it bothered me, because you know exactly what happened. Russell Crowe came in, got the script, and was like, I'm Russell freaking Crowe. I'm not getting beat up by nobody. But Russell, you're supposed to be a scientist. I don't care. I'm kicking Zod's ass, and that's just what it's going to be. Also, I want you to film me jumping onto a flying dinosaur. That's what's going to happen, Zach. And Zach was like, all right, yes, sir. Don't beat me up, Russell.
Well, I mean, and Russell has been known to be in certain situations.
Yo, can we highlight Peter Alexander's last comment, please?
What does it say here? Remember the banners? Great job, LL. Yeah. I tried. I forgot it for a second there, but look, hey, I'm doing a lot over here on the operating side. Derpy says, Bobo, look what I sent you. He says, oh, on the Insta, it's a lot of ideas, but okay. Yeah, no, I will check that out, Derpy. Sorry. I didn't see. I'm really bad about not checking my Instagram. So sorry.
Tim Alexander was that? Yeah. Derpy, you need to file Shogun of Cinema. That's our official Instagram. And then we will, I'll be in charge of that. I'll respond to you because I love you more than Bobo. Tim Alexander.
That's not true.
Tim Alexander.
I think he was saying, was this Roman Reigns?
Oh, no. Yeah, that's Jason Momoa.
Yeah, that's Momoa. But
there's some interesting news about him.
Dude, really weird news. And so I guess we'll have to kind of stay within the reins, and let's specifically talk about James.
No pun intended.
Switch, yeah, right. Yeah. That we'll talk about. Still try to stay within James Gunn and his switches.
Yeah,
so, do you think that he's? I personally, again, because of this, because of Peacemaker, and because of him already setting up his Suicide Squad, which takes place in this realm. Now, I just think that they're going to take place. I don't think that he's going to just abolish what's pre-existed in the DCEU. He just might switch some things, and I think there's a possibility that he can be demanding for
I mean,
Flashpoint.
is it really a big deal if he does abolish it?
I don't think it makes sense on his plans for Peacemaker. You know what I'm saying? Like, how would he do that and keep Peacemaker around? Because I know he has every intention of moving Peacemaker forward.
Well, yeah, I mean that's fine, but he can do that with different actors. And Peacemaker's a ridiculous property, so it's not nobody's gonna blink about that. I mean,
but James Gunn, he's in charge now, and I think that he has some personal love for the Peacemaker thing that he's.
Yeah, but does he love Henry Cavill's Superman? That's the question you got to ask yourself.
So how are they going to do it? How would you think? I'm literally inquiring. I'm not like on any side.
I mean, listen, you act like we've never recast actors in roles before.
I love casting calls, dude.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it happens all the time. Hey, you remember Game of Thrones when we had the what was Daenerys' love interest? He was a long-haired badass, and then we replaced him the next season when she was in the desert. He was like a part of some mercenary crew that was supposed to assassinate her. Instead, he brought the 3 heads of those mercenaries to her.
Yeah, I guess I don't remember them switching actors.
Oh, dude, yeah, drastically. They were 2 completely different looking actors. That guy ended up getting a lead role in the series that flamed out, and they replaced the actor. Some of you that are Game of Thrones fans, you'll know what I'm talking about. You can,
and I love Game of Thrones. It could have been one of those things where I just maybe just was paying attention to some of
the actor that played Tommen originally played a young kid who was another Lannister who got murdered when Jaime originally gets captured in a cage, and then he came back to play Tommen later. So we recast characters in popular shows all the time. And so,
yeah, they do. They're doing it in Witcher right now.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Better example.
But Peter said Drago, and it's like, no, that's not who's Drago got killed.
Yeah.
But I think that James is, got a good vision on what he wants. Now, is it going to work? And do you think it's going to go more to the ridiculous side of what kind of Guardians can be and what Suicide Squad was, or is he going to try to tame it?
I hope not, man. I hope not. I see that's DC's problem is they're very reactionary. They see just basically the surface level of, oh, Batman was dark. Everything needs to be dark. Let's just make it dark, right? Oh, Marvel's doing jokes. Let's just do jokes. Black Adam got ruined, I think, because they wanted to stuff comedy in there for
the family and kid involvement was too much for me. I'm not talking about his like Black Adam's family. I'm talking about that kid and his family.
Yeah, and the humor just didn't work. I think they put it in there. Also, Derpy, I see your comment about the 40s Superman black design. That's a dope design. Hopefully they do bring that back. That would be nice.
That would be very cool. Well, and if you look on this picture I got right here, that's also one of the things they're looking at. If you see that Superman,
yeah, it's Kingdom Come, and I've heard rumors about Kingdom Come, but then again, all these rumors of these shows being axed. So let's set aside Henry Cavill for now because I know we're on the opposite sides of the fence. Let's talk about the juicy juice.
Okay.
Let's talk about the tea that's being spilled about Patty Jenkins, or should I call her Petty Jenkins?
I like how you said spilled. Yeah, that's hilarious, dude.
I stole that Petty Jenkins from somebody. I can't remember who wrote that, but I think it was one of the articles that's reporting on all these rumors about Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman 3 has been canceled. Apparently, Patty's script was not up to snuff, and apparently she clashed over the direction of Wonder Woman 3 with Warner Brothers executives. She even sent them, and this is per direct.com, and I think they may have gotten this information from Deadline. I'm looking at from the Wrap. They got it from the Wrap. So apparently she clashed with Warner Brothers executives, sent them Wikipedia articles on Wonder Woman characters, said that they didn't understand the characters or the source material, and fumed over their desire to have rewrites. I got a lot of interesting thoughts on that. What are your thoughts, Bobo?
Well, that was the first thing is they were telling her they needed to rewrite it. And look, I'll be the first one to tell you, I knew that the truth was that this direction of Wonder Woman was being canceled simply because, come on, man, this movie right here,
Trash.
Sorry, guys, not good. And you know what's funny to me is that Hans Zimmer did the music for this and not the first one. I'm just like, oh, Hansi boy, why couldn't you have done the music for the first one, which is actually look, the first one's not awesome,
Yeah,
but it was good. I was actually impressed with it. I was like, they did a good job with the Wonder Woman movie with a bigger budget. I bet you they can do even
it's
better.
very reminiscent of the first Captain America movie. It's enjoyable,
It's
but
almost exactly reminiscent of that.
It's enjoyable, but it's not a great movie by any stretch. People were saying it's the best my cousin, best comic book movie ever. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
The effects are kind of lackluster in moments, but I thought it was a good direction, and I liked what they were doing with the Wonder Woman character in that, and I liked the story.
If I see another Zack Snyder slow-mo scene in a comic book property movie, it's going to be too soon.
Well, and they were too long in that. Look, I really don't think that. I hate to say it this way, but Patty Jenkins, I don't know her, but from what I've seen, I don't know if she understands what it takes to make an action movie. I'm not saying that I would understand what it takes to make an action movie.
Yeah, you would. You would. Well, let's hire Bobo.
No, but what I'm saying
is direct Wonder Woman 3.
She got fired from Rogue Squadron.
Yeah. And after she put out this big featurette, my dad was a fighter pilot. I know what it means.
She's got the helmet, and she's walking away, and then they fire her. So that's something's going on with like her.
Oh, she got fired from Thor.
Thor 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently that was over. From what I understand, that was over some pay issues for some of the women on set and things like that. That was much more a feminist issue that she was trying to stand against, rather than her not liking or them not liking what she was going to do with the story. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's what I've read. That was much more about that.
Okay. Well, I know Natalie Portman originally said she'd never do Thor again in solidarity with Patty, and that didn't last too long.
Well, and again, I think it was all based in that sort of same thing. She was mad that Patty didn't get to do it on the second one because of all those things. And so.
Yeah, and listen, we all know that Thor Dark World was not good.
It's better than Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah, that's true, but it's not good, right? That doesn't mean
I don't think it was bad in the sense that it looked bad and was made badly. It just didn't know what direction it wanted to go, and it was just kind of like didn't know what it wanted to be, in my opinion.
It was boring. It was boring AF.
Well, it was in two different directions the whole movie. Like at first they're trying to do this whole on Earth thing with these portals existing, but then they're trying to introduce you to
the lame villain.
What am I trying to? I'm drawing a blank on
the Dark Ronin,
Ronin, the other Ronin.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's something to step on in the MCU too by making a Ronin character when they knew they were going to make another Ronin character.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But back to the topic at hand. Listen, so Patty's main bone of contention is you don't understand these characters, and I think it's hilarious because some people would argue she doesn't understand the characters. She's taking a lot of liberties with these characters, and I'm all for that as long as you make a good story. And if you fail making a good story, then I'm gonna complain you don't know the characters, and that's the license I have as a fan. But I think it's hilarious that that's her side. That's the spin that they're giving is that, well, these people just didn't understand the comic book characters. They weren't going to do them justice. Like, Patty, you took so many liberties especially with Wonder Woman 84 on your characters. Like, come on. And that movie sucked, and you've lost a lot of the faith that people had with you with that movie. So I'm curious as to whose side people are going to take, because I'm automatically leaning towards the Warner Brothers executives. I never thought I would say that.
No, I'm definitely leaning towards them as well. But I don't know if it was the Warner Brothers execs or if it was. So I don't know how long these requests for rewrites have been happening. You know, before James Gunn. I'm assuming it was because the second Wonder Woman was not received well, like pretty immediately, like because it came out on Christmas Day and they released it on HBO Max, and it was the first of the HBO Max releases, straight to HBO Max theater releases. And I remember like the next day, dude, the internet was just like. Just all the thumbnails that were just saying garbage, trash. Like,
yeah,
I remember being halfway through it, looking at my cousin. We were watching it together, and I was just like, "What are we watching here, dude?"
I watched it with my cousin and her parents. My cousin's she's not a huge superhero fan, and her parents are from India, so obviously, what do they know about superheroes? But she was like, "Listen, the first movie's out. We got to watch this movie. I want you to watch it." And after it was over, she apologized to them. She's like, sorry, I made you watch that movie.
Kind of like he cleans you with Transformers 5.
Yeah, exactly. So, now,
hey, thanks for that, Peter. I appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, Peter, you're like another host. You know what? Let me throw that out there since I was having tech issues and I didn't get to throw that out there at the beginning. please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, be notified when we drop these live videos or other videos. We got a lot planned, and we're going to share that with you in a little bit. To kind of wrap up with Patty and the Wonder Woman 3, they do apparently want Gal Gadot to stay on as Wonder Woman. Duh, people love Gal. But let's do this for a short. Bobo, if Gal Gadot gets recast as Wonder Woman, who are some potential other actresses you'd like to see take up the role?
Man, one that I think that would her body type, I'm not trying to be that guy, but just for the way that she's always been drawn in the comics, the way that she was illustrated from the get-go, she's always been a little bit broodier. Like she's had
No. From the get go, no. Let's go back and look
well,
at
I
other
say
Wonder Woman.
okay, not from the get-go, because Batman and Superman, none of them looked like that from the get-go. They were just poorly drawn comics. I'm talking about, but once she was established as all right, she's getting popular like in the 80s and everything like that. She was very like, yeah, look at my muscles. And she was very, you know what I mean? The milk carton Wonder Woman. Yeah, exactly. I think if Alexandra Daddario beefed it up and went to the gym and started lifting some weights, she's got the already natural, tall, kind of voluptuous physique that they've drawn Wonder Woman in to begin. I don't know. I just think, and she's got these striking eyes, and I just think that she could pull it off. Again, she would have to get physically fit though. Like she'd have to gain.
The geek fanboys would be all over that. Alexandra, she's their favorite girl, dude.
She's my favorite girl. She's in my top 5 for sure.
Who are some other actresses? Because honestly, I'm drawing a blank. So
she's the first one that pops into mind, and I mean, maybe like in her heyday, Lauren Graham.
Interesting. Olivia Wilde. She's probably too old for the role now. Sorry, Olivia. It's no personal shot at you.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. There's something about her that, and this is not like saying in a like derogatory way. Olivia Wilde's beautiful, but she has more of a petite vibe to her, in my opinion. Like she doesn't.
I mean, but you're saying Alexandria Daddario can bulk it up. What about her?
Oh, I'm just talking about in frame, even. And that, I mean, if we're really really getting into the nitty gritty and trying to say who would we pick, and I'm also just thinking of people who just immediately come to mind.
What about Jamie Alexander?
Who is Jamie Alexander? Why am I drawing
Sif from the Thor movies?
Oh yeah. Or is that's the same one that's Maeve, right? And the boys?
No.
What she was in Thor Dark World.
No, Maeve is a different. She's another actress that could play her, but Maeve is a completely different actress. Maeve was also in season 3 or 4 of House of Cards, the one where the young guy's running against Frank. She plays his wife. So I pulled up Game Rant, actresses that could play Wonder Woman. Ana de Armas, interesting. That's once again not the body type that Bobo's looking for, but I don't discriminate people.
No, let's shut up. Yes, you do. Look, what I'm saying is just from the way that she's drawn and the way that it's like just an image, like in.
You heard it here first. Bobo body shaming actresses.
Not at all. These actresses are all beautiful.
Elodie Young, who was Elektra from Daredevil season 2. I may have misspoken when I said her name. I think it's Elodie, but
look at Derpy right here. Screw it. Okay, Gina Carano.
Oh my God! The internet would break in half if Gina Carano played.
Hey, 15 years ago, sure.
Yeah, well, it's not even. It's about the fact that she is a Trumper.
No, she's definitely ruined her like trajectory for sure, just by her tweets and posts. But I'm even talking about just from a physical aspect. She kind of, and this isn't me trying to be rude, but I think everybody can agree, man. Like she started getting too jacked up.
Yeah,
like it was starting to be like, whoa, slow down, girl.
So I don't know if you know, but there was a canceled pilot for a Wonder Woman TV show, and the actress Adrian Palicki has been in a lot of things. She's never starred anything, but she has that look that you might be looking for. Interesting. Number 2 is Alexandra Daddario.
Oh.
And Katie Cassidy, who
Peter says Lucy Lawless.
Back in the day, we loved some Xena.
Of course, dude.
And then Katie Cassidy, that's an interesting one. She played Laura Lance / Black Canary in Arrow.
Oh, that is an interesting one. I was trying to figure out who that was. It'd be, but to me, honestly, the best people that ever play superheroes are when they're relatively unknown. Like Henry Cavill was already getting roles, but he wasn't known like he is now when he did Superman. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know Peter hates Batfleck. I was very surprised that they went with such a high profile guy with Batfleck because it actually worked for me once I saw it. But when I first heard he was going to be Batman, I was pissed. I think everybody was.
Here's another list with some interesting names. Morena Baccarin, who was in Gotham. Rosario Dawson, that's an interesting choice. Jessica Biel.
I could see Biel. Biel is a strong girl, man.
Yeah, Wonder Woman being an anti-vaxxer would be an interesting twist. Colby Smulders, sorry, from
Nah, she's got too much of a like a petite vibe going for me.
Jennifer Lawrence. My God, would the internet go crazy?
I don't think she's got too much of a. She's too funny. She's too bubbly. I don't know. I don't know.
Lena Headey.
I don't think so. I don't see that. She's in Wonder Woman, isn't she?
Yes. No, is she?
I know Robin Wright Penn is. I know that, or Robin Wright.
No, she was. She wasn't in it. Another list.
I know what it was. She was supposed to be in Thor: Love and Thunder, and her role got cut. That's what it was.
Megan Fox, who would be the worst actress of the bunch, although beautiful girl.
Yeah, she does. I'll tell you what, though, man. I don't know if you've seen Till Death or the last one that she had that was kind of a horror movie that came out, and not bad, dude. Like, I got to give it to her. She has to like hang on. She's like handcuffed to her dead husband the whole movie. I got to give it to her.
I'll have to see it. Mila Kunis, Monica Bellucci, Jessica Alba, Ava Green. That's another list from IMDb.
None of those you just said. I don't want those.
Jessica Alba is my all-time crush, though. So just from selfish reasons, I wouldn't.
All those you just said are beautiful. I just don't think that they're Wonder Woman.
Okay, well, it's interesting. We'll have to figure out what's going on with Wonder Woman. Is she going to be recast? Who's going to take over for Patty Jenkins? There'll be a lot of good material and a lot of news dropping on it.
Look,
speaking of recast, though, go ahead.
I want to just say, when they made this, like when you're seeing these shots of her and like photos of the poster of like Wonder Woman in this suit, it's like, okay, this kind of looks cool. And then when you see this in the movie, it's like,
yeah. Listen, I wouldn't hate it if Gal really grew into the role, and she grew as an actress. Well,
she did.
And in fact, I thought she wasn't bad in Wonder Woman 84.
No, I like this Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. I do. I think she did. She was, and look, she's in my top 5 also. So
somehow this whole thing turned to Bobo's top 5, but
it just coincidentally got.
We're finding out Bobo's got a certain type.
Look, Peter says China, R.I.P.
Oh yeah,
that'd be a little too.
She might have done Wonder Woman in some other type of movies, if you know what I mean.
Right? Yeah, like Wonder Woman X.
All right. So speaking of recasting and people being cast out of roles, this is the most interesting twist of them all. Jason Momoa was in Aquamom, where his mom is this true hero of the story. But he was fine.
I like that movie.
Yeah, I like that movie. I like my mom stopping my arguments with my little brother. But here's an interesting rumor. So not only are they looking to potentially recast Aquaman, the reason they're looking to recast Aquaman is not because they are unhappy with Jason Momoa as Aquaman, but because Jason Momoa might be playing another DC character instead. Bobo, you want to tell them who that DC character is, even though they probably already know?
The one and only Lobo, which is a very big fan favorite in the comics as far as Superman villains are concerned. And he's kind of become an anti-villain in certain ways, in certain parts of the, like now in certain comics, they make you root for him, is what I'm saying. And rather than like always hating. But that was kind of the thing about Lobo. You kind of always liked him.
Man, I love Lobo when I was growing up, but the more I look at Lobo now that I'm an adult, I'm like, this character's lame. He was an answer to Wolverine.
For sure.
Like DC always does, they have to make him super invincible. And then when fans started loving him, I mean, listen, you want to talk about potential Me Too. Lobo is a potential Me Too waiting to happen. Yo, if Pepe Le Pew gets cut from Space Jam, how are you going to have a Lobo movie?
Well, I mean, did they always keep him like that? Have they corrected that within the comics? Because there's plenty of stuff there's plenty of Deadpool stuff you could read where it's like, whoa, a bit more before Me Too happened,
They tried to remake Lobo to be like a real skinny assassin, almost looked like Timothy Chalamet, and then fans hated that, so they said, "Oh, just kidding, it's a fake Lobo," and they brought back a new Lobo, which was essentially the same old Lobo that killed that guy. They've done so much stuff trying to get that tells me right there that the people are losing interest in the character. When you have to start doing things like that to the character, that means the character's gotten stale, and now they're bringing him to the big screen. So I don't know. I mean, Jason Momoa,
he's a fan favorite. They already tried to do a TV show on Sci-Fi. Did you see that?
yeah, and here's the problem, Bobo, is he's a comic book fan favorite. Will he resonate with mainstream audiences?
Sure.
That's what you got to ask yourself, right?
I'm a big believer that not everything translates from page to screen.
Yeah, Peter Alexander's hype though. Lobo.
Yeah, he's definitely all about Lobo.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see what happens, man. That'd be interesting if that happens. I wonder how mainstream would take that if like, Jason Momoa is a big name, and if they're like, wait, you're not playing Aquaman, but now you're playing Lobo, and you're playing some guy we've never heard of.
The only other time that they've come close to something like this, and it was pretty separated because of the fact that they made it clear in the comics or in the movies it was separated. But we did have Chris Evans playing Johnny Storm, and then he ends up playing Captain America, which are both in the Marvel universe, but not in the MCU.
Well, the reason they were able to get away with that was because 5 people watched Fantastic Four.
Well,
just one more person watched Fantastic Four than that was actually in the Fantastic Four.
The first one did well. I was surprised that they even made a second one because the first one did well, but wasn't received well. It made money because people went to go see it, but that didn't mean they talked good about it. But studios, they'll make a sequel just because it made money.
Yeah, exactly.
But what I'm saying is that that's the kind. I mean, yeah, you've had Ben Affleck playing Daredevil, jumping over and playing Batman, but that's in a different actual company altogether.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that Aquaman directly into Lobo, probably not that many years apart from each other if they do it. I don't like that.
No, I mean, obviously
somebody else to do Lobo. I mean, I get it. He looks more like Lobo than Aquaman, but you've already chosen him as Aquaman.
Yeah, wouldn't it be funny if they made Aquaman the blonde, skinny blonde white guy that a lot of people wanted in the beginning?
Right, the one you see like in the old classic cartoons.
It'd be hilarious if Chris Evans played Aquaman. Now that he's done Captain America.
They couldn't look. He could do it too. Yeah. That old, Super Friends version.
Yeah, exactly.
Or what if they made Lobo blonde haired? Because he made this Aquaman brunette.
That would be hilarious. Well, I mean, they've already changed hair colors with characters in Aquaman. So, speaking of change,
things that it doesn't matter for, but Aquaman was always sort of. It's like he's always been that blonde hair. Even when he was like a brute Aquaman with the big blonde beard and the blonde hair, he looked like kind of a Viking.
Yeah,
but he's never brunette ever.
Yeah.
Anyways,
well, speaking of changing, and in this case, cutting, right? Because we're talking about properties that have been cut. There was a vehicle on board for Michael Keaton, a Michael Keaton Batman project that has now been scrapped and has been confirmed via various sources. I believe it was Deadline, but I'm not sure about that. We'll have to go double check that. Now, that property that has been cut was none other than Batman Beyond.
Now, just to clarify for people, Michael Keaton would never have played the Batman in that Batman Beyond series.
Would have been hilarious, though.
Yeah, it would have been hilarious. Yeah.
If he was Terry McGinnis, oh my God, I would have laughed.
Because Terry McGinnis is the actual Batman in this. However, Bruce Wayne.
Michael Keaton walks in. He's like, "What's up, brah? You Bruce Wayne?
Yo, what's up?
I'm just hanging out with my young friends.
It's cool out here.
Gang. Yeah, because we're young and that's what we do.
Yeah,
that'd be hilarious.
LOL, YOLO, FOMO.
Yeah.
But Terry McGinnis is the new Batman that is being kind of not. What's the word I'm looking for? Like instigated by Bruce Wayne, who is an older guy, which is who you see in this right here.
Batman Beyond was a cartoon property, right? So Paul Dini did the animated Batman series, or TAS, as a lot of people call it.
And Bruce Timm. Don't forget about Bruce Timm.
Yeah, Bruce Timm as well. And it's highly revered. And so they decided, while they were on top of their game, hey, let's pitch Warner Brothers on this futuristic take on Batman. And so Batman is old and retired. He had a heart attack during his last outing, and so he decided to drop the cowl and just became a reclusive billionaire. His company is being run by somebody else, and And there's no Batman in Gotham, and it leaves a void. And this young punk kid, Terry McGinnis, ends up stumbling into the Batcave and becoming the new Batman with a high tech suit. And it was very cyberpunk, and it was cool and resonated with audiences. And it's a beloved property. And they brought it back in comic book form. I don't know if the comics are as highly viewed as the series, but
no. I think the series just was one of those sort of sweet spot lightning in the bottle moments. Like it just came out at the right time where everybody was just in that mode for it.
mm-hmm.
Oh, snap. Now, I do think if they could do an actual property of it, it would make it pretty cool. Like an actual real life live action one, it would just have to be, like I said to you in the text earlier, leave Batman alone for a little while. Make us not have any other Batman coexisting character to compare it to. There's you don't need an old Bruce Wayne in one franchise and a younger Bruce Wayne in another franchise all happening at once. Just if you're going to do it, make it to where we haven't seen a Batman movie in a while. Make it to where it felt like Batman Begins.
You know why I say no, even though that's the vision. That vision is correct for creative purposes. No, because you need to make money and you need.
But I feel like
here's what I hate about studios and why I think they're stupid. Okay, like I always hear like, "Hey, listen, we don't want to dilute our movies with TV shows. Release it all. Throw it in the public's face. Like you want your heroes to be front and center, and you want the property to be good. And you want to maximize the profitability of these properties. Don't sit on shit. That's stupid."
I'm not saying sit on it and like never do anything, but I do think there's a very big deal with oversaturation. It's not like this is a product that people need like toilet paper to where we have to have it every day. This is stuff that people can pick and choose and get in the mood for. And you can oversaturate something to where you wear it out and people are done with it. You know, look at bands like Dave Matthews Band, not dogging on Dave Matthews Band. Any band does this.
Trash. Dave Matthews Band is trash. I always hated Dave Matthews Band. They were my senior year. They were huge, but I hated them.
Whether you like them or not, what I'm saying is that they did have music that resonated with a lot of people. They were very talented, but at some point they ran out of creativity to where they were just making the same stuff over and over and over. And every band does that if you don't do something different. And same thing goes with movies. If you're just constantly shoving Batman down our throat, we're not going to like it. So look what's happening with Star Wars.
What did you say? You said you can if you do something what?
Right.
Different. Is Batman Beyond Batman?
No, but it's still Batman, and it's still in a Batman world.
But it's different.
But now you're over marketing this. Like, for example, Miles Morales movie right now, I think one of the reasons it's working so well is because they did it in an animated fashion. If they were to do a live action Miles Morales coexisting right now, I think it's going to lose its luster, and we're going to be like, oh, it's just another Spider-Man movie.
But they're also doing a video game. Like
that's different though. That's more like a cartoon.
Oh, also that trailer dropped. We can talk about that if you want to watch it real quick. That trailer for Spider-Man 2 on PS5 just dropped, and it looks dope.
Oh, no, that does look good. And isn't Keith David playing Venom? Doing the voice of Venom?
We'll table that. We'll table that. Just kind of go back to this. Listen, for the most part, I agree with you because the internet's freaking out right now that Batman Beyond got canceled. Twitter is in shambles. But it's not necessarily a bad thing because just because Batman Beyond got canceled doesn't mean a good version of Batman Beyond got canceled. For all we know, it could have been hot garbage like Batgirl, right? So and it was very early stages. I don't even know if they had a script yet. So it's not the worst thing in the world. Hopefully we get a Batman Beyond in the DCEU because I think
it could be cool. It could be really cool.
Right? But while we're on casting, you asked me this question. Who would you cast as Terry McGinnis?
Oh, man. You know, that's something that I think it's just got to be. I kind of have like an image of like a young, the way young Alec Baldwin looked like in some of his first movies when he was just like a kid. Just some dude that's kind of tall, slightly muscular, and had the black hair. Again, I'm going off the way he was animated in the show. You know, okay. So he was a cool high school kid, or he was hip. He was not a nerd. He wasn't like somebody that was, you know, like a Peter Parker that got picked on constantly. He was just got into some trouble. And
well, Peter Alexander has an answer. Keep it in anime. But you know, hypothetically speaking, let's just throw some other people out there that could be cast. Timothy Chalamet.
I think he's too skinny. He's too bare bones guy. I mean, he's
Man,
even
just
admitted
body shaming Bobo. That's gonna be your new nickname.
he's even said himself that he's 140 pounds soaking wet.
That was in Bones and All, a horrible
Yeah.
movie. Don't watch it. We just gave you a line from it. Okay, so it'd be hilarious if Tom Holland was Terry McGinnis.
You made me laugh. I sent you that gif like earlier. That definitely would be hilarious, dude, if they made him. I mean, look, somebody that I feel like Tom Holland is good for Spider-Man because he's sort of this short, kind of tight Michael J. Fox build, old school Michael J. Fox, sort of like in the Back to the Future Michael J. Fox. But that's not how I envision Terry McGinnis. I envision Terry McGinnis a little bit more like a quarterback. So not like a linebacker, but like a quarterback,
So let me ask you a question. You've given me some choices, but they're all white. Can Terry McGinnis be a different ethnicity?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. I'm not, dude, don't try to sit there and paint me into a corner.
Yeah. Listen, I was just about to say, are we getting Red Pill Bobo? That's what I was wondering.
No, not at all. Hey, you better watch out or I'm going to have to put that versus graphic up.
So let's think outside the box. What about some other choices?
Okay. This is for real. Okay. Zolo Marijuana. Blue Beetle.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. He is going to be Blue Beetle. Maybe that'll get canceled though.
They say it's still coming. They just released a poster for it the other day.
Listen, I love the kid in Karate Kid. I haven't really seen him anything else.
And he's one of the ones that, like, you could see his acting progress every season. Like, he got better and better and better as an actor. Robbie, not so much. But Zolo definitely got better and better. And I have a.
What about if we're sticking with Cobra Kai, Tanner Buchanan?
Who is Tanner Buchanan? Sorry.
He's Joey's kid. Or Johnny's kid, sorry.
No, Robbie, yeah.
Robbie, yeah.
That's it. Yeah, no, I don't think he's a good actor. I don't think that he's good.
Joe Carey, which is I'm on a list right now from comingsoon.net. Joe Carey, who's Steve from Stranger Things.
No, I don't see that. That's just not how I envision Terry.
Ty Sheridan.
Yes, that's more so of the idea, but maybe not so like soft in the face,
Uh-huh.
Maybe a little bit more of that quarterback chiseled look.
Well, Terry McGinnis is a Scottish name. You would have to change his name if we want to. I'm trying to think of some minority.
What if he had a Scottish accent?
He could be black, right? Black people can have Scottish last names. I don't know. Got Fabian Frankel, Peter Alexander. I was about to say, guys in the comments.
Who's Fabian Frankel? Sorry,
Kristen the Cuck. Sir Kristen the Cuck.
Okay, look.
House of Dragon.
Oh, no, yeah, he would be good. That's the look I'm talking about. That look right there. Now, Matt Smith, come on. No.
Yeah, Matt Smith's a little old, buddy.
And he's got too much of one of the, there's this saying that, like, in Hollywood, it's like, you don't necessarily have to be the best looking. You just have to be interesting looking. Mm-hmm. And Matt Smith is like the epitome of that. Like, I'm not saying he's an ugly guy, but he's not like, oh, look at that breathtaking hand, but he's extremely interesting and like unique. Nobody looks like him.
All right, here's some interesting ones for you. I just pulled up young minority actors via Google. This one, guys, you're going to love this one. Jaden Smith.
Oh, man. Yeah.
They've got John Boyega on here. He's 30, but I guess, if we can have a 30-year-old Spider-Man playing Peter Parker.
Okay, and look, that's the other thing, too. John Boyega could do it. There's nothing in that. I've always been, and I even said this to a buddy of mine earlier today, I've always been a believer that the only thing that matters for the character is the essence of what makes that character. So, for example, there's nothing in Superman's true makeup that says that he has to be white. He was just drawn white, Yeah, exactly. Same thing with Bond. We've talked about this. It just needs to be a suave, British, classy dude. That's it. You know?
So just to kind of recap here, Bobo doesn't have any racial biases, only body type biases.
That's not true, but you're making funny jokes.
O'Shea Jackson?
He's too
buff. Yeah,
he's too big. And in the sense that like he'd be more like a Bane in Batman Beyond. You know what I mean? Like if there was a futuristic Bane or something.
Yeah, there's some interesting minority actors out there, but it's an interesting conversation. You know what? Comment below. Do you guys want to see a minority Terry McGinnis? Do you not want to? Do you have a casting choice that you would like to see play Terry McGinnis? Do you not know who Terry McGinnis is, and do you not care? Just let us know all the above, right?
And it is one of those things that it's just like a lot of people didn't realize they cared about these comic book stories until they were made into films. And then they're like, oh, this is cool. And it's like, hey, well, that story did exist in the comics too. So I believe that Batman Beyond is a cool story.
Speaking of stories that did exist in the comics that a lot of people love and have a love for, Justice League Dark. So a while back, there was a rumor out there that Guillermo del Toro wanted to do Justice League Dark, and then it got canned. Now people are wondering, with all the changes happening at DC, will Justice League Dark get another shot? Guillermo del Toro had some comments to make on it that were pretty vague.
I can almost guarantee you that James Gunn wants this to happen.
You think?
Yeah, I think that James is a huge Guillermo fan, and one of the reasons is because Guillermo doesn't play by anybody's rules, man. He does what he wants.
Well, when they asked Del Toro about it, he said, "Oh, I don't know. My love for Swamp Thing, the demon knows no bounds, but I don't know. You don't get a manicure from a big machine. That's what I learned. You lose a few fingers, so I don't know. If I want a manicure from a big machine, as Danny Glover would say, I'm too old for this shit."
I love that. Man, you're a badass, Guillermo.
I don't even know what any of that means, though. What the hell does he even saying there?
I know what he's means is he's saying, like, if I get in there, I'm going to have to sacrifice my vision. Like, I have a way I want to do it. And if I'm playing with these big boys, I might have to lose a few fingers doing it. So I'm not willing to lose these fingers. I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I think. I
think if anybody could
I love Guillermo del Toro, and so part of me is like, I want you to let Guillermo del Toro do what his vision is. But then all you have to do is go look at Star Wars. Ray Johnson's a badass filmmaker, and I actually liked that movie.
I like Last Jedi.
I liked it, but it created a big old mess because he took everything that came before him and was like, I'm not doing anything of that. I'm not interested in any of that. I'm going to change it all up. And they had a storyline loosely planned that he just blew to holy hell, and the last movie suffered for it. So if you do this with Guillermo del Toro and they say, hey, listen, you can have your own sandbox to play in, do it like Joker, which we all know really isn't even a Joker movie. It's, it's an ode to Taxi Driver with Joker forced in there.
And the what is it? The greatest comedy, or what is that show? The Robert De Niro movie also, but it's the greatest comedy of all time, or somebody correct me in this in the comments. But anyways, same stuff. It was like that whole like homage to those two films, and we used the Joker character.
Before you and tell me your thoughts on Brahmastra.
Oh yeah, he wanted me to ask you about that. Did you know about that movie at all? He wanted us to see if that was something we would.
Well, I look it up. Why don't you put up our banner?
Oh, you son of a.
Okay, Brahmastra, Part 1, Shiva. Okay, so this is about Shiva, a Hindu god, and who is the star? Amitabh Bachchan is in it. Amitabh Bachchan is an older Bollywood actor, but he is like, if you look at any. Well, have you seen what's that Danny Boyd movie that's set in India?
I don't know.
Who wants to be a millionaire?
Oh, the Danny Boyle movie. Sorry,
Slumdog
Millionaire.
Slumdog Millionaire. Thank you. There's a scene where he goes to get somebody's autograph and he dives into a pile of shit to get that autograph because this actor is super famous. That's Amitabh Bachchan. I don't think there's ever been any actor in any country as famous as Amitabh Bachchan. Okay, Karan Johar is directing it. Karan Johar is he's like a famous Bollywood director. I'm trying to
think. He said it's on Disney.
Huh?
Peter said it's on Disney. He's debating if he should watch it or not.
I mean, watch it. If you like Bollywood movies, give it a shot. Karan Johar is a very famous Bollywood actor. He's like the Michael Bay of Bollywood movies, not so much in the special effects, but he's got this formula that he sticks to. And when you see a Karan Johar movie, you definitely know it's a Karan Johar movie.
Like just by looking at it?
Yeah, just by looking at it, just by the feel of it. But with Bollywood movie, you know what you're getting into. You're going to have music, you're going to have dance numbers. It's going to have a little bit of all elements of comedy, screwball comedy, action, because the movies are made for a general public that that movies are their escape, right? It's changing a little bit because India's coming up economically big time. That's generally what the thought is. It's a little bit like a Globe Theater. You got to have something for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
So give it a look. It looks promising, Peter. Maybe I'll watch it and we'll.
That could be our first one.
Yeah, yeah.
We've
We
been
want
talking
Bobo
about
to
doing
review a
Bollywood
Bollywood movie.
Wednesdays.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, back to Guillermo del Toro. I think to kind of put a wrap on it, could put a bow on it. Yeah, I don't know if it'll happen, honestly.
I would love for it to happen because I think that he handles this type of stuff well, sort of like witchy, magic-y, things like that. And if they did the Dead Man thing and if Constantine was like leading it, I think that would hopefully what he would do. I just think it'd be great. While I do really like the Constantine movie, I actually really think it was better than people give it credit for.
I agree.
I would like to see the Constantine that we all know from the actual comics. Yeah, that was Keanu Reeves Constantine. I want to see Constantine.
Yeah, we had him in a TV show that was hit or miss, kind of like Bobo with a Banner. But the other actor did a fine job playing Constantine. But you're right. I want to see that in comics, and we can kind of, I guess, we disagree on whether Guillermo del Toro is going to do Justice League Dark, get a shot at it. You seem to think that James Gunn will make it happen. I
think that he wants it to happen. I don't know if Guillermo will do it based on the comment that Guillermo said that it happens. You know what I'm saying? I could see James being like, "Come on, Guillermo, just make a couple sacrifices for the studio," and Guillermo being like, "No."
Well, speaking of disagreements, Deadline is disagreeing with everybody else on Black Adam and the amount of money it made.
How is that? How are they being like, "Nope, it is making money"? Or you think DC's or Warner Brothers is saying, "Here you go, guys. Here's a paycheck"?
Yeah, they seem to think that it's going to end up projected to make about 70 to 72 million. So not a huge profit that's going to turn, but they think that it will turn a profit. And there's even reports that a Hawkman sequel is in the works. Bobo, would Hawkman be the most boring character to ever get a sequel spinoff from a movie?
I think that Hawkman has always been a side character. I don't know if I've ever been like, I can't wait for the new Hawkman. Like when I'm at the comic book shop, I can't ever remember the time where I was like,
man, you're missing. There's been some great runs on Hawkman that you're missing out on. But you're right, especially in this movie. I don't think anybody walked away from there. It's like, I gotta see more of that Hawkman. Nothing.
Yeah, if a Hawkman comic book is what you were into, and there was a run on that, then chances are that you're a really hardcore reader. But that you have to already be into some other characters. Really, you're not going to just be some random person being like, you know what?
No, I mean, some people keep up with it's because of the rise of the internet. You got websites like CBR and etc. And so the sometimes runs on more minor characters can get a lot of hype, and they'll become popular because of that. And also, nothing against Aldous Hodge, the guy that played Aquaman. I want to kind of throw that.
No, nothing against him. He was fine. He did a good job. He's cool, very likable, good actor.
I don't know. I mean, listen, if James Gunn's gonna chop Batman Beyond and greenlight Hawkman with this dude, then maybe this James Gunn DCEU isn't gonna be all that we think it's gonna be.
Right. I mean, my fear is that they're just gonna go. They're going to kind of do with what Suicide Squad felt like. While I really enjoyed his Suicide Squad, I didn't think it was awesome, but I did enjoy it. I feel like it hit this sort of kind of easy middle ground feel. Like it wasn't super stakey in the sense that like you weren't really afraid for anything, but it also wasn't super gimmicky and super wacky. It was just like in this middle safe ground, and that's kind of what the MCU's been doing. They're in this sort of like, let's just play middle safe ground for a little while. And if you're telling me you're going to be putting a Hawkman movie in there, I feel like that's middle safe ground.
Yeah, it was really mid. I know you guys haven't gotten used to those movie grades yet because we haven't done a bunch of reviews with them. Although Violent Night will be coming up soon.
Yes, I promise it's coming up soon.
But yeah, it was really mid, and we'll see what happens. Hawkman getting a sequel.
Peter says it would just pave the way for Hawkgirl. Yuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Hawkgirl could work. Speaking of paving the way to a sequel for a character that was featured in a movie, let's get some quick hits out here. Charlize Theron is rumored to be getting a Furiosa sequel. Now, I think we all love that Mad Max movie, man. It was
phenomenal.
It was just, let's talk about an action movie. A quintessential just
straight up action movie done as well as you can do it. That Mad Max movie was it.
Well, and it felt like that movie that's like you sit down and you press play, you put that popcorn in, and you're just like, and from the get-go up until the very end, it was just entertaining as hell. And obviously the acting was great and everything, but I love the character of her.
So you know what it reminds me of is when Thor, the original Thor, was coming out. I was having an argument with a buddy who was like, just down on this. Kenneth Branagh directed Thor. He's like, I don't know, man. I heard it's just gonna be a bunch of Shakespeare and a bunch of talking. And I always make fun of him because I'm like, man, you hate movies with plot, you know? And I joked and I said, listen, you just want a movie where Thor shows up. The only words he says is, I am Thor, and then just starts fighting. That's what you want.
Odin's son. Boom.
Yeah, that's what you want. And we laughed about it. That Mad Max movie was a better version of that script because basically he shows up and says, I am Mad Max, escapes, and then it's just straight action from there. And it was awesome. It was great. You know?
Dude, that is definitely proof that if you know what you're doing on a visual storytelling standpoint, you can tell, dude, Tom Hardy don't talk in that movie. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like,
except for the memes, that's bait.
Yeah.
I love that meme. I use that meme all the time.
That's funny. No, he says almost as good as the first original Mad Max. Hey, you're right, dude. I mean, I love all the Mad Max movies. Thunderdome being the weakest, but I still think that it's good. I still enjoy Thunderdome, the hell out of it. But yeah, this Mad Max made you love Mad Max again. Now, what do you think about, and I wasn't sure which order this is coming. They're doing the prequel first, right? With Anya Taylor-Joy, correct?
Yeah, and listen, this is just a rumor with as far as the Charlize Theron has said that she would like to do a Furiosa sequel. So nothing is
said. The prequel is going on though with Anya Taylor-Joy.
From what I know. Now you never know. In this industry, it's going on till it's not going on.
You're right. You know? Especially those honestly, it's those big budget ones that seem to be like hyped, canceled.
And then also It Girls, like Anya Taylor-Joy is an It Girl, so she's got projects lined up. So, she can get scheduling conflicts at the drop of a dime. And then that could put movies that are in the works in jeopardy if things start to get delayed. Also, she got dropped out, and then also
and that happens more than you might realize as far as actors that just having to give up on something. It's not that they didn't want to do it; they just couldn't.
Yep, exactly. So, yeah, we'll see.
Peter, what a creepo!
Ooh,
this comment he put up.
Yeah, like I said, she's the girl. Her and Ana de Armas right there. A lot of
that's my girlfriend right there.
Ana de Armas?
Oh, I love her.
Well, then let's speak of Ana de Armas. John Wick sequel is in works, or I should say sequel. Spinoff is in works with Ana de Armas called The Ballerina. Of course, we saw the setup for this in the last John Wick movie, in that the people that raised John Wick to be the super assassin that he is also raise a group of assassins who pose as ballerinas. We don't learn a lot about them, which is great. That means that there's a lot of meat left on the bone for filmmakers to tackle. And so what are your thoughts on the sequel? I know you said that that's your girlfriend.
Well, yeah, right now she can do no wrong. Even if the movie isn't that great, I love her and whatever she's in because I do think she's great. And
she's good, the Gray Man. She showed her action chops in that otherwise mid-ass movie.
Yeah, no kidding, right? But did you expect any more from Netflix?
No. Well, I expected more from, was it the Russo brothers that did that?
I think so, yeah. But I didn't, because they did Extraction as well. I know they can do good action and everything.
Extraction wasn't bad, man. It had my Indian homeboy. Yo, the Russo brothers have had some awesome gone to Bollywood and got some awesome action stars to cross over into those movies.
Dude, they know how to shoot action. Some of the action scenes are awesome, dude. Like, they are really badass. The reason that Endgame and Infinity War were so good, with the action being so good, is because those writers were really good. And that was more than just them. That was a machine of a buildup leading to those epic films. You know what I mean? But I do think that they have a production company that makes, like, when people like, oh, we need these awesome action scenes, their company now is doing all these massive action scenes for people if they need to have like these action sequences that are road chases or things like that. Their company actually does that. So I think that Extraction and all these movies like this are kind of like calling cards for other movies and other companies because they're getting hired. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. So you're 100% right on that. I was just giving them love for my people because Avik's son, who played Danush, was I'm sorry, Dunush, who played Avik's son in the movie, was a highlight. So it's brown love right there, and then we had some. Who's the Indian actor from Extraction? Anyway, the lead opposite of
the action in Extraction was phenomenal.
Yeah,
I mean, it truly, and same thing in Gray Man. Like the action was phenomenal. It's just the movie itself was kind of eh. But back to Anna. Mm-hmm. I think that as soon as people saw her in No Time to Die, they're like, okay, we gotta utilize that side of Ana de Armas because she was awesome in that. I loved her in that.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of girls that people love, even though I can say this right now because we don't have a lot of followers. If we ever get a lot of followers, I cannot say this unless I want the Swifters to take me down on Twitter. But Taylor Swift is about to make her directorial debut. Don't know a lot about it. Don't say that I care. I just think it's out of left field, and I thought it was a wild story that I want to talk to you guys about.
Well, it's all because of that video that she directed off of her last album, and it had like stars in it, and she was able to get these people. Like I think Sadie Sink was in it, and I think there was another famous like actual older woman, not like old woman, but like an adult actor who was in it as well. And for some reason, I'm drawing a blank. And it got all like kinds of awards. People like were really impressed with her directing.
People love this girl, and listen, it's not that she's not talented. I just think there's way more talented people out there. Billie Eilish is phenomenal.
I agree.
Billie Eilish is so talented, you know? And when I watched, I think whatever the music awards were, and, watch Taylor Swift come on and do her thing, and it's fine. And then you watch Billie Eilish coming right after her, and you're like, oh, this girl is so much better than Taylor Swift.
I think the difference is that Billie Eilish writes music, and some of those songs happen to become pop songs. Taylor Swift writes pop music.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Listen, you can't say this out loud. I have female relatives that if they saw this clip would disown me, right? My brother, who's getting very famous, just did lunch like a few months ago with Scooter Braun. You know who Scooter Braun is? He bought Taylor Swift's catalog, which is hilarious. And he was like, she bought it so he could sell it back to her. I think my brother talked about it at lunch. And he's like, she wouldn't buy it back, so I make money on it somehow. I'm an investor. What are you going to do? But like we're talking about that at a family dinner, and there are certain cousins of ours who are now adults, by the way, who are walking by, and we had to like get real quiet because we knew that if they found out he had lunch with Scooter Braun, they might try to slit his throat or something. People love this girl. I just don't get it. Here's what I want to ask you though, Baba. What are the odds that she makes this movie all about some ex-boyfriend that broke her heart?
Oh, it's definitely what it's going to be about. I mean, she's even said this last video was about her and Jake Gyllenhaal's relationship.
Oh, surprise. A fake relationship where she got her heart broken and she has to do a video or a movie about it.
Yeah, I mean, John Mayer does the same thing, but I love John Mayer.
Listen, a lot of people think John Mayer's a douchebag. His music's good, but yeah. Listen, Taylor, maybe you're the problem. If you can't find a guy that's not going to shatter your heart at this point, you're 35 years old or however you are, maybe you're the problem. I'm just saying,
Hey, who knows? Maybe so. I'm also to the point to where I can't even think about being in a relationship. So hopefully she's just pumping these things out because it's what her fans are wanting, and she's got things under control. I would like to think that she's not 35 and still actually feeling this way. You know what I mean? I think that it's just a business.
And that's why I don't respect her though, because the way she hypes up, she acts like she's a victim, and she gets the social outrage to drive her album sales. And then these poor guys who date her get trashed. Calvin
Harris.
He's a great example of that. Like he got run over by her and trashed by her just for her marketing machine.
Well,
it's okay because here I'm 44 and I'm single, and like Baba said, I know that I'm the problem. That's why
I'm divorced. Yeah.
We know we are the reasons we are this way. You keep saying that it's not you, and you keep playing sympathy for album sales. And at some point, if you're serious, I hope you realize that maybe it is just you.
I think there's something to that, man.
Yeah.
Is that Taylor Swift's team talent calling you right now?
It might have been. Who knows? Yeah. Like, listen, like I said, what are her fans called? I don't know, whatever they're called, but
Swifties.
When we get to a point where we get big enough, we can't be having these conversations about Taylor Swift because we'll get destroyed. So might as well have them now while they're not watching.
So we went from talking about movies to bashing on Taylor Swift.
Yeah, listen, man, she's just not good. I mean, she deserves the hate. What can I say?
Hey, I don't care for her music either, but there's a market for it.
Well, speaking of what there's a market for and what people love them some Paul Rudd.
Oh boy, do they, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like.
So for our final story, and we can throw in if we want to, like afterwards, post in, throw in the meme of him on Hot Ones. The rumor is, and this is via direct status, so I don't know how reliable this, but the rumor is that Paul Rudd will in fact be returning post Quantum Realm for more roles as Aquaman. There's a lot of
Ant-Man.
I'm sorry. There's a lot of rumors that Paul Rudd will die in this movie. This rumor seems to contradict that and say, no, he's going to be back. In some form or fashion, he will be back.
Yeah, I'm wondering what that could be. Like, is it going to be because Reed Richards is going to start getting involved and they want to have, instead of having the Hank Pym Reed Richards connection, they'll have the Scott Lang Reed Richards connection?
Yeah, listen, they could kill off Hank Pym pretty easily in this movie. Because
somebody's got to die.
Somebody will die, more than likely, and it'll probably be Hank Pym. It makes sense. An older actor playing him,
But I mean, I don't want them to start making more and more Ant-Man movies. Like, I think the whole trilogy thing is cool, and then have people in other movies.
How funny it is that prior to this, Scott Lang was the Ant-Man that nobody cared about. It was all about Hank Pym. Yeah, I think people that don't know the comics don't realize that Scott Lang, I don't want to say he was Ant-Man for a short period of time, but he was clearly the second Ant-Man that was not in people's hearts. Hank Pym is a character that's had some controversy. They decided to have him beat his wife.
Being a wife beater.
Yeah, but even then, Scott Lang couldn't stay Ant-Man because the fans wanted Hank Pym badly.
But I also have to say, when I first heard about them not doing Hank Pym like that, and Scott Lang was going to be the main one,
were they gonna ignore Hank Pym like you ignore the banners?
Well, I didn't. God dang, I didn't think that they were gonna. I didn't think that Hank Pym's involvement in the films was going to be as heavy as it was. I didn't know that Michael Douglas was actually going to be in every bit of all of the films. So that actually made it better for me. Like, then I was kind of relieved. It's like, oh, Hank Pym is in this. It's just an older Hank Pym. But at first I thought they were going to just make Hank Pym the past one and that's it.
Well, listen, now the multiverse is in play, you can bring in a younger Hank Pym and a younger Janet, Yeah, you can bring in younger actors to play them, and that would be kind of cool because you're clearly transitioning in Marvel where you're going to have to bring in new characters. So you got Ironheart coming in to replace Iron Man. You got all these young kids coming in. You need some legacy characters to maybe hold them over and hold the tide over. Marvel's, we talked about in a previous video that all these changes that are happening in DCU, Marvel's going through the same thing with leadership changes. So we'll have to see what happens. But listen, I don't think anybody's going to hate on the fact that you'll still get more Paul Rudd in your Marvel future.
No, I love Paul, which, by the way, another Peter said, banner Nazi. I love it. Another thing with Paul Rudd and like Ghostbusters and things like that is that Jason Reitman is not doing the Ghostbusters sequel. The entire cast is staying, but he's not doing it. So I just wanted to throw that in there since we were talking about Paul Rudd. He will be in the sequel.
Yeah. Listen, shout out to Peter Alexander. You carried the comments on this one. I guess we lost Derpy. Derpy, we're used to you carrying the comments. You're about to be replaced, man. You got to get on the ball.
Yeah.
You got to get on the ball to be the number one comment. Peter Alexander is coming for your neck, son. But thanks again for all of you that commented. Hopefully we get more comments coming in the future. But until then, you guys are doing us a great favor. You want to do us more of a favor, go ahead and look at our social. Our banner's back down there. Bobo got it right this time. Shogun of Cinema on Instagram and Twitter. Throw us out there. Get your friends to follow us. We appreciate it. Of course, patreon.com/BrassReel. Toss us a little bit of money to help us get this channel to a higher standard. That way we can increase your viewing pleasure. And of course, follow us on Facebook.com/BrassReel. We'll all be meeting in the metaverse. Either that or we'll be laughing at Mark Zuckerberg for being broke, just like us. One or the other. You can join us on Facebook. Do that. Follow us on TikTok as well at Shogun of Cinema or /BrassReel, which is the name of the channel. And until next time, when life gives you lemons,
make some hot, fresh popcorn.
Who's the master is out.
Oh, yeah. Peace.